This milk starring.
rareEpiphany. I often wonder if you ever look back at the aftermath of your apocalypse, if the eclipse of my sun by your moon blinded you to the strewn fragments of me you left scattered, mirrors of memory shattered by debris, you don't see me, though I am still here in rear view, obliterated before a few prideful dreams that refuse to collapse. Perhaps it is safe to say that hurricanes never reflect on the destruction they leave behind, though the minds of the destroyed never, ever forget their names. Peace.
How you doing, Queen?
I'm wonderful. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good.
You good? Good.
That's what's up, man. How long you been doing this poetry thing?
Let's see. Probably about close to 40 years.
Dang.
I'm an old lady. But yeah, I've been doing poetry itself. I was introduced to it when I was in middle school. And I had a problem where I used to get bullied because I was the quiet kid kind of thing. And then I like snapped. And when I snapped, it wasn't pretty. Somebody got stitches, and I ended up getting, going to the counselor's office for every week, twice a week, for the rest of my school career, from like elementary school all the way through, because it was like, yeah, she's something wrong with her, she's crazy. But it wasn't really that. There was a lot of things I needed to work out. And so poetry became my outlet. I had an English teacher who introduced me to writing poetry, and it was a way to get everything I felt out on paper. And then when I moved to Atlanta in like 95, I was introduced to spoken word. Like, ooh, wait, you can actually perform or make these pieces real to not just yourself, but to other people. And it's been a wrap since then. That was in 95.
When you say you moved, where you moved from?
North Carolina.
Oh, okay.
Well, actually, I moved directly from Alabama to Georgia, because I went to school after I decided I didn't want to do real life right after I got out of school. So I was like, let's collect some college degrees from different places all over the country. And so went to Yale briefly, and it was just not cultural enough for me. And then I went to UNC Chapel Hill, then ended up at Oakwood University in Huntsville, Alabama, and then moved here to train to work during the Olympics. So that's how I ended up in A.
When you say train was you training for the Olympics?
No, not like
okay. I'm already saying
the Olympics. No, so I have a degree in broadcast media communications.
Oh, okay.
And so they had this thing called the Host Broadcast Training Program. And what that did was they took college students and they let them work for companies like NBC and different people who were working and sponsoring the Olympics. And so I was a camera operator and footage editor for some of the live events for the Olympics. And one of the stipulations was you could not be a graduating senior. I was a graduating senior, so I dropped the class so that I wasn't a graduating senior. So I did the program, worked for the Olympics, went back to campus the day before graduation, clept the class, and marched.
That's dope. That's dope.
I was like, I'm gonna get around this.
So you say so basically you was in media, right? So you trained for interviews and different things like that.
I worked in radio for years.
Oh, okay.
Worked in radio, did script writing for TV for a while, and decided I actually wanted to make some money, so I decided to use the finance degree for that. But I collected degrees for a while, and then after I was on the road touring for a while with stage plays, and did a bunch of stuff with a band that I had called Company, and then decided, okay, let me settle a little bit, and so I went into APAR analytics, and that's what I do.
When you say PAR, explain that.
AP and AR are accounts payable, accounts receivable.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And then payroll. And then after I got into payroll, I got into payroll law. And so that's what I do now. I do compliance and payroll law for an international company during the week. And so it's kind of like okay, don't do this so you won't go to jail. And this is the law here. And with this coronavirus stuff, the laws for every state have changed so dramatically. I'm trying to keep up with that stuff and make sure we're compliant with everything. So I'm a compliance officer. I'm very right-brained during the day.
You said a lot in the front of the last 4 minutes. A lot. God damn.
I do a lot.
Nigga, let's go all the way back.
Okay.
All right. You said you was bullied.
Yeah.
What you was bullied for? What type of things they used to say? Because I know kids. I mean, I was bullied when I was younger.
Right. So for me, you know, like, it seems stupid now for me now, because it's like, so you point out the obvious and that's supposed to hurt my feelings. But you know, I was an only child, and so I really wanted friends. I had cousins and stuff.
All of us.
But I really wanted that, you know, like, I need a friend, so, you know, somebody thinks. So I would do pretty much anything. It's like, okay, I let my cousin cut my hair, you know, she cut my eyebrows off, just anything, just to have a friend. And so it was, by the time I hit kindergarten, I was already like almost 5 feet tall. And so I was taller and bigger than everybody in the class. Like, literally, they were like, "Is this the teacher?"
Right.
I'm like, "No, not the teacher." So they used to tease me for being dark and for being fat and for being tall. It was like, okay, so tall, really? I can't control that.
Right.
Just my height.
Most definitely.
And so it was until I got to, you know, maybe middle school, when I completely lost it, snapped on somebody.
And who was the person you snapped on? Cause
I
know you know that motherfucking name.
No, I don't. I didn't even know his name then. He was a clear person. He was not African American. He had a mullet. I remember that. And he had the mullet because it was in rural North Carolina. And I was sitting at a lunchroom table, and he came up to the table, and I was sitting by myself chilling. And every time I would take a bite of food, he would oink. And I said, "Okay." I then. So I got my lunch tray and I was getting ready to get up, and he said, "Oh, what's the matter? Little pig gonna cry." And I'm told that I took the lunch tray and commenced to whooping his ass. He had several stitches. I got, instead of, because I was a good student, so I didn't get like suspended or any of that stuff. What they did was they sent me to the guidance counselor's office, and I had to go twice a week for the rest of my school career. I was at the guidance counselor. They was like, "We want to make sure she don't nut up and do some other crazy shit." But what I learned from that, it might not be the best lesson, but what I learned was, okay, it only takes one. Because I had no problems with nobody else after that.
Because everybody saw, like, oh, shit.
Well, like, it only takes one. It's like, I'm going to snap off on one of y'all, and then I ain't going to have no problems.
Right.
And, you know, it's kind of like the lesson I passed on to my son, because my son is so, like, no fighting, kind of gentle. And I'm like, whose child are you? But he was being bullied really badly, and he finally just snapped, and he had no more issues. But I told him, I was like, okay, I told him in front of the administrators at the school, next time he touch you, lay him down. He's like, "But Mom," what I said was, next time he touch you, lay him down.
Right.
And he did.
Well, let me ask you this. When you was talking to an administrator, was they acting like they wasn't going to deal with the issue? That's why you had to go that way?
Yeah, because he had constantly been bullied. And I live in Cobb County. And Cobb County has a mutual combat legislation thing that says if you fight, you get suspended. It doesn't matter if I walk up to you and just bat. If you defend yourself, you're getting suspended.
Right.
And my thing is, whether or not you're the aggressor, you're going to get suspended. Okay.
Right.
Cool. And so I'd been back and forth, and they were like, "Well, ma'am, you know, we've talked to the student. Look, y'all can't make this stop." And my youngest is special needs, which really makes me mad. So I'm like, I figured this out, and they couldn't seem to figure it out. He kept coming home with scars or whatever. You know, somebody would, you know, hit him, and it was the same boy, same child. And I was like, okay, since y'all can't seem to make this stop. And he just would not defend himself because he was so scared of, I don't want to get suspended, and I don't want such and such. I was like, I don't care about that part.
Right.
And so he did. He beat the little boys behind, and it ended up where I thought that was that, right? He beat the little boys behind. He got suspended. I took him for ice cream, and then like a month later, I got a call from a detective because this other boy's mother had filed battery charges against my son, right?
Right.
And so they were doing an investigation, but in their investigating, they found that the story that they were giving did not match what the administrator said happened, did not match what my son said happened, did not match the written statements by the kids. So Cobb County filed battery charges against the other boys.
Checkmate.
And so we ended up going to court. The judge is like, why are we here for a 7th grade fight? This is crazy. So he sent us to mediation. And we went to mediation, and they went through the whole process, and the other boy got expelled, and then everything was cool for a minute. But even though that boy got expelled, he had some friends at the same school that my son was at. And so
some other
a few months later, he got jumped by a bunch of boys, which only cost all of them getting expelled, too. But they jumped him in the gym, and he had on a sweatshirt and sweatpants. Because they had a uniform, and it was like 4 or 5 boys, and you remember those jump ropes we used to have in the gym, those big thick ropes? Yeah. They beat him with those ropes so badly that it broke skin through his sweatshirt. A mixture.
Oh, okay.
And it was not pleasant. I could feel like my spirit was snatched out of my body, like, stand here.
Right.
Because you finna lose it. You stand there.
You ready to go back to your lunchroom days.
Oh, I was gonna burn school down.
Right.
And I did. My mother a thug from way back. My mom was like, I'll come down there. I'll burn all that shit, mama. Chill. We got this. He would never tell me who those boys were because he knew me. My child knows me. He'd be like, oh, no, I'm not telling her. I was like, no, I'm not gonna bother the children. He was like, it ain't children I'm worried about. It's their parents I'm worried about. I know you. True. This is true. But
a bunch of little punks. Doing punk ass shit.
Yep. But my son has not been the same since then.
Yeah, I can imagine.
He was a straight A student. Right now, he's barely passing because he just does not care. He does not care about the whole school setting. Does not care about the school. Nothing.
Right.
He wants to do what he wants to do. He works for a couple of music labels because he does dubstep and rhythm and death step. And he's been doing that for a minute. And I just said, just get through. Just get through it.
You make him understand that your greatest win is being successful. And when I say successful, not by the system standard of it, but by your standard of it.
Yes, and he just does not. He does not see the value in people who proved that they did not see the value in him.
Most definitely.
And I understood that. And I said, all I need you to do is get this diploma.
You know what's fucked up, man? I've been thinking about stuff like this a lot. Maybe the last 5 years. It's nothing worse than being a good person in this fucked up world, yo. It's nothing worse than being a good person in this fucked up world.
Yep.
You got to be real careful about everybody you interact with.
Yes.
Everybody, man.
Because so many people have ulterior motives.
Yes.
And so many people...
Or they've been hurt.
And hurt people... I don't necessarily believe in totality the idiom of
I
hurt
don't.
People hurt people.
I don't either.
I think that...
Because sometimes hurt people heal
who
people.
are not healed. Like, if you're not on a journey to healing, you may not necessarily discern hurt. Like, you may not... This may be normal for you.
Most definitely.
Like, people manipulate and do XYZ. I remember my ex used to always say, and I didn't like it, but it was true. He used to always say, there's a difference in using people and misusing people. And misusing people is the problem.
Yeah, right.
Using people is not. People use people for various things.
Yes.
You use people as a reference. You use people as this. I use this person as such and such. And he went back to Thomas the Train, which used to be my son's favorite. And Thomas the Train, the only thing Thomas ever wanted to be, he never said, I want to be the best. I want to be such and such. His only aspiration was, I want to be useful. Because if I'm not useful, then what am I here for?
Useless.
Right. And so it becomes a thing of, I just want to be useful.
Yeah.
And once you flip that, it's kind of like, okay, I understand that I'm the type of person, because I'm an only child, because of stuff, I'm going to try to do it myself. I am stubborn like that. My friends get pissed off because they're like, why don't you just ask somebody to help you? And I'll be like, because I don't feel like you're not obligated to help me, right? And I feel like everybody's plate is full. Then when I need to come to you and ask you to do something else,
Right.
I'm gonna try to get this done. I'm gonna try. I've been trying to move stuff out of my house for forever because I was supposed to be buying a house in June. That whole thing fell through and all kind of craziness happened. But my stuff is still packed. But I need to get some stuff in storage, and I don't have a truck. I was like, I need to get the stuff in storage. I got to take these. I got a couple of broken TVs. They're the big plasma TVs that you can't fix unless you pay crazy money. But you can get them. You can recycle them, but you have to pay to recycle them. I don't care. I'll take them to Best Buy and recycle the TV. I just don't have room in my car because they're huge. They won't fit. And it's like, call somebody with a truck. I was like, have you seen Atlanta traffic? And then we out in these Rona streets. And I'm not going to ask nobody to do that. I'm okay with that sitting in the corner. And it annoys me that it's in the corner.
Look, you know what's funny? What you just said about your ex? Yeah, what your ex say, that's one of my quotes. I say people are meant to be used mentally, physically, spiritually, or money-wise, but not misused.
Miss you.
Yes.
And I used to hate it,
but
it was true.
It's the truth. Let me say this to you. The other thing I want to say to you is this. Yes, use your resources. That's one of the things. You know why one of the reasons why I'm able, to me, the way I'm able to keep moving forward is because, like, I would do it for y'all, so why the fuck want to ask y'all? You'll do it.
And see,
I know you. You'll do anything for people.
Backwards for people.
So why not ask
And they were like, "Why you don't ask somebody to do?" I said, "I'm stubborn as fuck. I know this. I recognize this about myself."
Let's dig into this.
Okay, I already know.
Let's dig into this. All right.
I've been in therapy for years. I can tell you all the stuff.
All right. So you would do anything for people, right?
Yep.
Explain to me. Why? What's the block that make you say, I ain't asking nobody to help me?
I can tell you that it's really easy. It all comes down to a thing of self-worth, which is very different from self-esteem. Self-esteem, like they'll be like, oh, well, strippers and hookers have low self-esteem. It's like, no, the hell they don't. They have really high self-esteem. By some standards, they have low self-worth.
Most definitely.
They don't necessarily believe that they are worthy of certain things. And that has always been my issue. My issue has always been trying to prove to myself that I was worthy of something. And if I could not prove it to myself, then I definitely felt like I couldn't prove it to somebody else. If I didn't see it, how could I expect somebody else to see it? And so it was like, I believe that people are worth the extra effort. I don't necessarily believe that is reciprocal. And I understand that that's a problem of mine, that I don't necessarily believe that I am worthy of the love that I give. And that's always been my issue. And it has been, I think, if it hadn't been proven, like, and I understand, the whole thing of I made bad choices. Like, it wasn't that I wasn't worth it. It was just like, you can do all the right things for the wrong person.
This is true.
And I always had the wrong person. And so I have just gotten into the mindset of, fuck it. They're all the wrong people. Now I'm going to do it. I'm going to still do what I do, but they're all the wrong people. That's why I'm going to be the flyest ass cat lady they ever known.
Yeah.
But it's just, it's an issue of mine that I try to work through. And I have some really good friends who try to help me work through it. Stuff like the whole entertaining of buying a house. So I have friends that take me on Saturday afternoons. We jump in the car and we go look at houses. We look at houses that I right now in my brain, I'm like, I could never afford that house. Because we be looking at $30, $40 million houses. And I'd be like, and they'd be like, you gotta open up your mind to the possibility.
Yeah, let me say this to you. Let me say this to you, sister. The way you sing, the way you write poetry, and all these different things you do, the cooking, all that. Like, let me tell you like this. Honestly, from me to you, the possibilities are endless.
Right.
You gotta have it in your mind, like, the possibilities are endless, because you dope as fuck. You wouldn't be sitting here if you wasn't dope.
True that.
Fuck, I like getting up in the morning time with somebody. Fuck, I like getting up early in the morning with somebody that ain't dope. No, fuck, I get my best sleep.
Like, no, I'm gonna get my sleep.
I'm saying to you that I'm here with you because you are worthy of this. Like, you understand? Like,
I do.
You worthy of this. And the thing is like, I want you, if you can, once a month, just do it once a month. Ask somebody to do something for you. Just once a month. And then next year do it twice a month. So yeah, motherfuckers can do stuff for you because you doing stuff for people. And the thing is like, long as you're not misusing. Like when I ask somebody to do stuff for me, even me asking you, can you do this interview for me? I ask myself, if she asks me, would I do it for her? Yes. So I'm gonna ask her. You understand? You know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna ask you because I know, you know, they'll do it for you. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Yeah, I love what I do. I love investing in people. It's one of the things about my job. They would always be like, so, you know, they want to see ambition, but their definition of ambition is, frankly, not us ambition. And not us ambition is very cutthroat, very I want to get to the top by any means necessary
This
kind
is
of
true.
thing.
This is true.
And that is not who I am.
Yeah.
My thing is that I am for the collective growth of something. And so I contribute what I contribute. I don't want to manage people. And so I manage processes, but I don't like managing people. And they're like, because you know, you can do this managerial role and get paid such and such. I was like, one, I'm not motivated by money.
Right.
Two, I believe in what we can do together. I ain't trying to be the boss telling you what to do. I want to be in the trenches. So I always tell people, I'm a grunt. I'm a worker bee. I want to get in and get dirty.
But let me say this to you. I want to challenge that thought process. To me, you having a thought process of the growth of the collective, that's the best type of manager.
Right.
A manager that's willing to get in the work with you and stuff like that. I want you to be my manager.
How to tell that to corporate America? Corporate America is not built on that principle. Corporate America is built on the same principle as the United States, individualism.
No, let me say this. I work in corporate America too. Corporate America worry about numbers. If your way produces the numbers that they need to see to say, okay, this is the right way, that way is the right way.
But here's where they introduce a kink in that chain, because I believe that same theory. The kink in the chain is that if I am a middle manager and I believe that this is what it is, when you put a plan together that says this is how you will manage these people, because that is your management style, and you mandate that from your seat, then that ties my hands, because then everything I do is tied to, I have to do this kind of thing with this person and this kind of thing with this person and this. If you tell me, get the results, period. I don't give a fuck how you do it. Okay, then I'm good with that.
Right.
We can work with that.
Most definitely.
But outside of that, like, we have these principles and stuff where I work. And so principals and people like that are not supposed to be in the trenches, right? So it is, I'm going to manage you doing this thing right here. But the fact that I'm the only person doing this thing makes it difficult for me to have balance. Because like right now, I'm working like 14, 16, 20-hour days. And it's when you say, okay, I'm in for the collective, if we could all be in for the collective, but if you're managing us individually and there's no benefit for me to go over here and do this, or I get reprimanded because I'm too helpful. I am too helpful.
Are you still able to do your work?
Absolutely.
That's stupid as shit now.
But because what it is my thing is this: if training is half-ass, and it's also a moving target. So what happens is, if I do this, and we have a central box, so questions come in to the central box, and we're assigned to the box on certain days. If you're assigned to the box on this day and you get compliance questions, that's not your area of expertise. And I can do all the SWPs or state, to tell you how to answer this question, but intuitively, there are things that you need to know. Like, you just don't know to ask it because it's not what you do. So this piece of paper doesn't really help you. And I'm like, okay, so you ping me, hey, I got this question. How do we do this? And I'd be like, okay, so it should be simple. However, let me tell you what's broken in the system, because they don't know. Like, they just know, oh, it could be simple as, you know what? I don't want to pay overtime after 40 hours. I want to pay double time after 40. Okay, great. That's good for our people. You know, they get double time whenever they work over 40 hours. Wonderful. You should be able to go in and say, oh, let me change this threshold and change it to this. Yeah, you would think this double time threshold doesn't work. I know it's sitting there on the page, but I discovered last year that this does not work. And in order for them to fix this, they have to break this and do that. But we're in the middle of a code freeze. They can't change the code to break this and fix this, so we can't fix this.
Right.
So you're telling me we can't pay the people double time on 40? Oh, we can, but it's gonna be manual, and they ain't gonna like it. But I get it. But there's no way that you could know that, because that's not what you do, kind of thing.
Right.
So I help people, because that's what I do. You're too helpful. They need to learn. How the fuck are they supposed to learn this on their own?
Yeah, you know what? To me, if I'm wrong, correct me. It seemed like whether it's at work or outside of work, you indirectly, some type of way, feel like you getting punished for helping.
I do.
Do you, no, here go this trick. Do you think that you don't ask people for help because somewhere in your mind, unconsciously or unknowingly, that you think that they would be punished for helping you?
Probably. Like there is something, some standard, something that there's some repercussion.
All right. Oh yeah.
To helping me, and I have to think of it. It is transactional. That there's something you give up in order to give to something else. There's a deficit that is left there. And my problem is that there are always deficits.
Mm-hmm.
They're never deposits. And it's because I don't necessarily open myself up to deposits. Because I felt like there's a weird dynamic when you don't have siblings. So I don't understand siblings, right? I understand some aspects of family, but not all. So for me, being an only child, I was taught to be independent, to do it yourself, that nobody is obligated to help you do anything. You do your stuff yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And that's been hammered into my head so much that it's very hard to unlearn. It's very hard to appear weak. It's very hard to appear helpless. It's always never let them see you sweat. Never let them see you cry. Never let them see you upset. That was.
But let me say, I don't think that's an only child thing. I think that's a black people thing.
That is a black people thing. It's a black people only child thing. It is us. The more I'm around people who are not us, the more I recognize. We talked about this last night with a group of people.
I like the. Can I say that? Can I pause you for a minute?
Yeah.
I like the way you don't say race. You just say other. You do inconspicuous things to let you know. Like the way you word. Like I need to like learn that tactic of saying, like you said, pick your water bottle up real quick. Like you said, to clear people. Like you do. But that's all I want to say. But you can keep going. Remember what you were saying last night. You was
last night. But we were talking about how we bought into this American dream that doesn't exist, right? So we're taught, pull yourself up by your own bootstraps and do this and and we're about individualism and And I was like, we're the only people that do that. Everybody else practices collective economics. You don't see other people kicking their kids out automatically at 18.
I wouldn't do that.
Soon as you graduate from high school, get out on your own and do this and do XYZ and and bye. And it's like, that is not how it operates, which is why they allowed insurance companies to let you cover your kids till they're 26. There are certain things that I watch and I'm like, they're adult children. Whenever stuff gets tough or somebody, I'm making less money now, so we moved back in with mom,
mm-hmm.
or whatever. But it's all about collective economics. It's not about you got to get yours and you got to get yours and then everybody get theirs individually. And it's like, do y'all understand the power of collective economics? I watch my friends, especially my Hispanic friends,
mm-hmm.
and I have some Asian friends who are immigrants, whose parents were immigrants, who came over. And it's like, so this man and this woman and their 10 kids, 10
mm-hmm.
children,
mm-hmm.
along with 3 or 4 other families all lived in one house. Collectively, whoever worked. Whoever you're not working right now, you take the kids back and forth to school in the vans and the da. That's what they did. And then it was like everybody's money came into that household until this mortgage is paid off. And once that mortgage is paid off, they buy another house.
Mm-hmm.
And then they work collectively
Right.
to pay that off until all those families have houses or their kids have food or they take care of the kids and they didn't have to pay a babysitter and they did XYZ and this because it was the collective economics where everybody ate.
Mm-hmm.
And we have gotten so far from that because we bought into the I get mine, you get yours.
Right.
Kind of thing. And it's like, that is not how this works.
Yeah, but let me say that it's a couple things. My mind hopped around a couple of places. One, what you're talking about, me and my wife talk about this. Like, my oldest daughter, she turned 21 in like 3 weeks. You stay all my kids, you can stay as long as you want.
Exactly.
As long as you're doing what the fuck you supposed to be doing. You can't be in here just playing the game and sleeping. Exactly. If you're going to college or you're going to work to stack money up to get your own house or whatever, you stay as long as you want. As long as you're not a fuck up, you can stay as long as you want, right? Mm-hmm. But the other thing when you said the collective thing, this is my thought process. A lot of times people see me sharing everybody posts or I want to interview poets and stuff like that because in my mind it's like, we not going to get poetry where it's supposed to be until we start sharing everybody who dope shit. Mm-hmm. Everybody be thinking, it's about me. No, it ain't about me. It's about us. We ain't going to win unless all of us win.
Right.
And that's on all levels. It's not just
everything.
Poetry. It's not just... Like, my thing is this. I always used to say like this. It's like, you ain't the shit unless everybody the shit. True. I don't care if you got a Bentley or Rolls Royce. If we ain't all eating, you still starving in my thought process.
Right. You ain't even gotta like me. You know what? I'll make sure you eating, even if it's at somebody else's table. Like, I don't want you in my face. I don't really like your ass. But I'm gonna make sure y'all eating kind of thing.
Most
so
definitely.
For me, I like, again, to be useful. I think people ask me all the time, like, where's your album? Like, why you ain't done your album? You know, you got to do your album. I said, one, there's 2 things. One, musicians are shady as fuck. I'm a musician. I understand how they work. Mm-hmm. Musicians are shady as fuck. It's really hard to pin down a musician to say, sit down, let's go through this music, let's get it done. Especially even I don't know what it is, and I don't know if it's just Atlanta, but I can only say Atlanta. I have musicians that I have done stuff for, done shows for, done vocals for their albums, done such, do background vocals, do who I can't get to pick up the fucking phone if I need to call and say, hey, I need to get this music out of my head. Can we sit down, whatever. I did an example for somebody because somebody was like, that can't be true. I said, watch this. I did a Facebook post years ago. I tagged 7 million musicians. I got music I got to get out of my head. I'm not asking you for shit I wouldn't do for you. 1. 2, I will pay you. 3, I'll feed you.
Why?
Never a single. And so someone was like, nobody called?
What you need? What type of artists you need? What type of people who play? What type of musicians you need?
I need just somebody who is banging on keys. That's all I need.
What about the girl Ken has? That worked at Savoya. They played the keys at Savoya.
I don't even know her. Like, I've heard her,
yeah.
But I don't know her.
Do you think she's good enough?
Oh, she's awesome. She's amazing.
Let's get her. I'll talk to Ken and see if we can get her number.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, like...
Yeah, because, so for me...
Do me a favor. When we done, text me what you need.
Okay.
And I'll make sure... Because the thing is, your album need to be done.
Right.
I'm different than you. I will ask. I don't give a fuck if you say no. I'm cool with you saying no.
I think for that, though, I've been told no enough for me not to ask no more.
No. Let me ask
for this, it's been like, okay, so I asked y'all, I tried, y'all saw me. So what I did was a conscious effort of, okay, so I just like to make music, and I like to sing, and I like to do, that kind of thing, and I love helping people. So whenever somebody asks me, I do it. I just did Doug Berry's song In Jesus' Name.
Mm-hmm.
So it was me, Bridget, and Doug. We went in the studio. Doug laid down the tracks, and me and Bridge did all the background vocals and ad libs on the song. So we just released the music video for that song.
You talking about Bridget, the one who? Well,
so
can she make Can they make? She make beats, don't she?
Who? Bridge?
Yeah.
No.
Or she just sings?
She sings. Doug plays guitar. And so we went in the studio. We just finished this video for In Jesus' Name. Y'all need to see it's the bomb. So we shot the video.
It's out?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Shot the video. If you go to Instagram, you can see it on my page. I posted it. And it's on YouTube everywhere, but it's In Jesus' Name, Doug Berry. And then I have a friend named Dino. He's called The Proverb. He's in New York. He sent me a track and said, "Hey, sis, I'm trying to finish up my album. Can you, listen to this song, see what you hear as far as the hook or as far as the chorus kind of thing for it." And it's hip hop, which I love. And he said, just, figure out a chorus, whatever. And so I was like, I listened to the song and I could hear the chorus in my head. And so I sang the chorus. I laid down the chorus and ad libs and sent it to him and said, "Let me know if this works." He was like, dope. He was like, "If I can get you in the studio." I was like, "Don't worry about it, I got it." So I went in the studio, laid down his stems for his track and vocals and everything else, sent it back and was like, "I got you on this kind of thing." So over the past couple of years, I've just been investing in other people's projects. What you need me for? Got you. What you need me for? Got you. And once they realize with me, and they'll tell you with me, it is never about the money for me. Well, I can't pay. I didn't ask you. Let me do this.
You have a million people now hitting you up.
But they do. I get hit up all the time anyway.
Most definitely.
But what happens is I'm a believer in. I've already put in my gazillion hours. So they put in your 10,000 hours.
Yeah.
I used to be a full-time touring musician and stage plays, and that's what I did. But what I want to do is make sure that everybody gets what they need. And I don't mind. I'll come in and sing your project. There are certain poets and people that I love who do a mixture of poetry and music. So like Abyss, whenever I see Abyss somewhere, if I'm in the audience, he know I'm background from the audience. He gonna say, "I'd rather be with you." I'm gonna come in with the harmony. "I'd rather be with you." We gonna sing it from there, kind of thing. But I enjoy our community so much. I enjoy the collective so much that singing a hook on a song, that don't cost me nothing.
Most definitely.
Come on, let's write this and there we go. Boom.
Plus, to me, every door, you never know what that door gonna open.
Exactly.
That's how I be looking at shit.
Because just doing this thing with Barry's Bridge, when I did the song with Doug, we went into the studio with a friend of his, and it ended up where when I needed to lay down the vocals for Dino, I just called him and said, "Hey, I need to lay down some vocals. Tell me what your price is per hour." And then I just need to lay down vocals, just come in and do it. Bam.
Right.
I come in and he was like, "Dang, we laid that down quick." And I was like, "Look, I came up through the game years ago and they called me the one take wonder." I used to work for a few studios in Atlanta, so that if this artist comes in and it's 2:00 in the morning and y'all trying to finish this track, I need somebody to lay down vocals because this ain't working, then the studio would call me. And old Doppler, they used to be Doppler Studio, I used to work for them, and they would call and be like, "Hey, we got somebody who needs you to come in and do some vocals." I'd be like, "Okay, how many vocals is it?" And it could be 2:00 in the morning. I'm gonna be like, "Okay, it's gonna cost you triple scale." And then we're like, bam. And I could charge triple scale because I wasn't gonna keep you there the full hour.
Most definitely.
Coming in, what I need to sing. I don't want to know your song's concept. I don't want to know none of that. What I'm here for is to lay down this track as quickly as possible, as close to perfection as possible. We're gonna do this. Cool. Boop, 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 boop. We're gonna do it in one take. Deuces, I'm out. And I'm gonna go home and get back in my bed. But it is because I want to do something for the collective gain. The creatives of the world get the short end of the stick in a lot of things. But one of the reasons that I am successful in corporate America is because I don't think inside the box. Creatives are needed to get outside of this mundane kind of, we got to figure out a new way to do it. You need a creative to do that. And that's what I want to contribute. I want to be able to do the music and the poetry. I remember the first time I heard Bonnie Harvey, and she was the first person I heard mix poetry and music. And I was like, well, shit, you can do that?
Right.
Well, I ain't know it. I didn't No, nobody told me I could do these together. And that's where I ended up starting to mix songs with that. Or I might hear the hook of a song and then this whole piece would come, and I was like, yeah, I kind of like this. So that's kind of what I do now. And when I did the show for Felicity Love at St. James Live, being able to actually have a musician friend of mine come and say, I'll play for you. And I said, okay. And to be able to perform something the way it is in your head is a whole different realm.
I can imagine. I got a lot of concerts on head, and you want it done exactly the way you said?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like that. And to sit there and have this man play this song and to do the songs that I had never done live ever anywhere, but I wanted to do this song, and I was like, I ain't gonna do but the first verse of this song, because then I'm gonna do this poem and then we're gonna tag on to the end. And to be able to do that with poems and then come out the way you thought they were, or better than you anticipated in your head, I was just like, this is what I want to do forever. It was like,
I know what you mean.
I didn't realize what it was until I saw the video. So a friend of mine came and she posted the video on my page after that night, and I'm sitting there like, is this me? Like, I'm listening like, is this me? And just being able to do that and have somebody else be like, you know what? Because I used to always think, I never got features. I never got features. But when I was introduced to the poetry community,